This is VSiN At The Track. Now here's your hosts, Mike Somich and Aaron Halterman.
Hey, welcome back in VSiN At The Track. Aaron, we've officially made it here. It is time for Del Mar to open up as well, which means the next 6 weeks in horse racing going to be absolutely crazy. And stick with us here, VSiN At The Track, wherever you get your podcast, Apple, Spotify, or watch us live over at VSiN Live on YouTube. I'm Mike Somich. He's Aaron Halterman. You ready for some action across the country, Aaron?
Yeah, this is the best time of year for me, right? Saratoga during the day, Del Mar going on a little bit later on the West Coast there at night for me where I live. So yeah, it's going to be great. And then you got the race like the Haskell we're going to talk about mixed in throughout these weekends as well, kicking it off with this weekend, obviously. So yeah, I'm very excited.
Yeah, it's going to be fun because, we love talking about some of the strategy, the theories, all that jazz. But part of the love for horse racing is being able to try and put the puzzle together in handicapping. And the next 6-7 weeks are going to be packed with handicapping. We've got 4 races that we are going to preview today, including the Haskell from Monmouth and the United Nations from Monmouth as well. We've got the CCA Oaks from Saratoga, as well as a couple other stakes races that we're going to mention during the Best segment, and the San Clemente over at Del Mar. So lots of handicapping, lots of picks coming. We'll have best bets as well, like I said, toward the end. I actually called you yesterday about a horse to make sure I wasn't crazy. I want to make sure we at least mention that one in the Vanderbilt toward the end of the show as well. But we're going to kick it off, as always, with the news here. And, the first one here, Sovereignty, our champion in the Derby, our champion in the Belmont, seems to be loving Saratoga still, Aaron. He is working phenomenal in the morning. Looks like he is ready to roll. We'll see him next weekend in the Jim Dandy against Baeza.
And it's weird timing that the show was today. And I have a friend that's up at Saratoga. He works at Oaklawn Park, and he actually went by and he had a little visit with Sovereignty today. They're up kind of recruiting horsemen up for Oaklawn Park there at the Saratoga meet. So got some pictures of him. My friend had a little bit of a talk with Bill Mott, and things are going very, very well for Sovereignty. They couldn't be going better. And that's why he's going to run in the Jim Dandy, because he's working too well to just wait for the Travers. So all things are go. I don't know about you, Somich, but since really the Florida Derby, and I'll ask you this question, have you ever seen one negative report on this horse since that race? It seems like every time I read about Sovereignty, he's just doing fantastic.
He just seems like a strong, well-meant horse. Every morning workout, it's always he looks good over the track. He seems to like it. We've seen him at multiple racetracks now. He's liked every one of them. That's never been an issue for him. And he's filling out. The interesting part about this 3-year-old class, and every 3-year-old class, is as you get later in the year, you see some of these horses really growing. I saw a picture of Sandman, horse that we've talked about a lot on this show, horse that I'm not in love with. He looks like a different horse right now. It looks like he put on 10, 15 pounds of muscle, and he's a big boy now. So it's going to be fun to see how these horses roll into the Jim Dandy, the Travers. We'll talk about Magnitude a little bit more. Talked about a little bit about him last week. I think he's an interesting addition. All word on the street is Baeza looks like a monster as well. So it's just fun to see these 3-year-olds continue to develop. And the Haskell, I think, is interesting. I don't think it's journalism open and shut case. I do think he's the best horse. Looking forward to handicapping that and talking about horses like Gosker, who just ran second in the Preakness, and Burnham Square, a horse I've been higher on than most after his Kentucky Derby. So I love where this 3-year-old class is going, Aaron, and the races we're about to see just week after week after week with what they have developed into here.
You're right. And that is the most fun thing about the 3-year-old division is they're aging, and developing right in front of us. A 3-year-old horse is kind of like one that just entered high school, and by the time they get done with their 3-year-old season, it's like they're out of college, right? Well, think about the growth spurt that you see for humans. That's kind of what horses are doing as well. You mentioned Sandman. He's a horse. I saw him in the flesh at Oaklawn Park. And he has a big frame, but I'm kind of like he hasn't really grown to that frame yet. He was kind of lanky. So it's kind of interesting, because he's a bigger horse. But if he's adding muscle and kind of filling out, as you would call it in a human athlete, that's very interesting to me to see what he does. Because a lot of times, well, not a lot of times, all times, we talk about Sandman. It's like, oh, mentally, he's just not there. He's kind of crazy. He has growing to do physically as well. So it's interesting that that could be happening, and he could blossom over the summer a little bit. It's funny you bring up Baeza, because I have heard similar reports that this horse is just doing fantastic. So that is going to be very interesting next week when we talk about that. But yeah, not to get ahead of ourselves, I won't mention a couple of horses I've heard are doing pretty well for the Haskell, because I'll save that for when we talk on the show. But you're right. This 3-year-old division, It seemed like last year, like they were very late bloomers, but once they got going, it was great. This division from the start, and I think through the summer and even the fall, it's just been awesome pretty much 24/7 with this group.
And now we're also in like the training camp era right now of the NFL, and you'll hear in every single training camp, every player is their best shape of their life. They're doing awesome. They're doing great. I want to make sure I mention this. In horse racing, that's not the case. Before the Kentucky Derby, everyone looks awesome. Everyone's doing great. After the Derby, you're going to hear so-and-so horse isn't filling out well, that you're not running well over certain tracks. You get a lot more negative reports around these horses, and so that's why I think it's so important to mention the positives that we are consistently seeing around this 3-year-old group. I don't remember the last time it seems like everyone is growing and progressing and getting better. A lot of times you have horses take a step back, or the Triple Crown took too much out of them, or the stretch to get into the Derby took too much out of them. That is just not the case this year, which makes it even more exciting.
Yeah, that's a really good point. You're right. Leading up to the Kentucky Derby, everybody is the best, like you said, and it is a lot like NFL training camp, where it's like, yeah, this quarterback that's terrible. Oh, he's lighting our defense up this year. Yeah, they get the first game. It's like, oh, that was all talk. You're right, and this is also the season where these races are huge races. They're really important. But if you've got a horse that isn't just 100%, you don't really enter them. Well, there's not that rush to, hey, he's 90%, but it's the Derby. Let's get him in it. No, when these horses show up for these races, it truly does mean they're doing fantastic. So, yeah, that's the thing. This is kind of the season, right, where you go, you read the headline, it's like journalism is skipping this round of races because, he's kind of tired from the Triple Crown season. We've seen none of that. All of them are coming back strong. So, yeah, extra exciting. And like I said, I'm kind of like, well, I won't. We're not going to talk about the Haskell right now. I'm going to wait. You got to wait for a little bit later to the show, because I almost got into it because I'm so excited about it. But I do kind of agree with you. I'll say that he'll have to run well to win.
Yeah, he will. And that's exciting. I haven't heard a bunch of the buzz around the Haskell horses, so I can't wait to hear from you what that buzz is like. We talked about it a little bit earlier. Opening weekend over at Del Mar, where the surf meets the turf. One of my favorite racetracks, number 2, actually, behind Saratoga. Can't wait for that meet to kick off as well. A lot of phenomenal 2-year-olds that will be debuting this weekend at Del Mar, so keep an eye out for that. We've seen consistently horses progress through the stakes at Del Mar into the Breeders' Cup, where it will be held at Del Mar this year as well. So looking forward to see what happens there at Del Mar on opening weekend. We'll also cover one of the races on Saturday, their graded stakes that they'll be running. Excellent Truth. I think this is worth bringing up. A horse for Chad Brown that I loved the first 2 starts. Takes on She Feels Pretty last weekend up at Saratoga and knocks her off. I thought they both ran absolutely phenomenal, which tells me that the Excellent Truth is a player in this division. I didn't think there was an excuse for She Feels Pretty in that spot. I think Excellent Truth just beat her to the wire.
Oh, I totally agree with you. I thought it was a fantastic performance by both horses. And look, She Feels Pretty kind of got up next to Excellent Truth and looked like she was going to go by. And she passed to Excellent Truth just a little bit for a few seconds, and Excellent Truth fought right back. That was a situation last week, Somich, where Excellent Truth had ran 2 races here in the United States. They were too good to lose, and she just kind of got unlucky. And she was given the perfect opportunity. Hey, here you are. You got the good trip this time. You're right here with She Feels Pretty. Let's see who can beat each other to the wire. And they were bobbing noses, basically, right? It could have gone either way. It was that close. But I'm with you. Much like Nitrogen, who got beat 2 weekends ago, we talked about it. Ran really well. She Feels Pretty just got beat. She ran very well. She got beat. Tip of the hat to Excellent Truth. And how you can really tell the third place horse, they were well clear of that third place horse, which means those 2 horses just kicked on. And Excellent Truth, who may have been deserving a couple of times this year, was deserving again and was able to get rewarded for it this time around.
Yeah, and well clear does not define it. They were a city block ahead of everybody else. And I want to make sure we mention Choisa as well, who had to deal with an off track again. And we talked about this last week, that Choisa is a downgrade when there is water in the racetrack. If she gets a fast track at some point, I do think she can flip the tables on these 2 horses. She just needs a fast going or firm turf course up at Saratoga, which it's hit or miss. You never know with the rain up at Saratoga. Farbridge rolls in the Bowling Green. Not going to spend a ton of time on this one, but it's worth mentioning because we are going to talk about the United Nations and Farbridge, a relevant horse inside the United Nations past performances. So we'll get to that a little bit later. Thanks for everybody for joining us here. If you're listening to us on Apple or Spotify or wherever you get your podcasts, we appreciate it. Make sure you like, subscribe, and review. 5 stars only, please. And then, if you're checking this out, make sure you check out VSiN.com as well. Right now, you're getting a special promo over at VSiN. You can join for just $9.99 for your first month. Head over to VSiN.com/subscribe and check out all the subscription options for the VSiN Pro. It's your edge in both the horse racing markets and across all of sports. And there's not a better time to do it right now as well, Aaron. The NFL guide is out. It came out on July 1st. If you want to get access to that guide, you got to be a VSiN Pro. You can get that for just $9.99 right now. So make sure you check out VSiN.com/subscribe and the options to become a VSiN Pro. Well, with that being said, let's jump right into the handicapping. And I know that you want to talk about the Haskell. So I will set the stage for you here. Journalism going to be a fairly heavy favorite in this race. I would say morning line has him set at 4-5. I think it's probably shorter than that when they break from the gate. Goska returns after a very gutty second in the Preakness, where journalism able to run him down, make up close to 5 or 6 lengths in the last furlong and a half. You've got goal-oriented back for Bob Baffert on the outside. He's definitely going to inject some pace in here. Burnham Square sits on the board at 5-1, a horse that I've been interested since they ran the Kentucky Derby and the trip that he got there. But you were ready. You were bursting at the seams, wanted to talk about the workouts and who is doing very well coming into this race. So let's save the journalism discussion for a little bit later. Who's the horses that you want to talk about that you think are possibilities to pull off the upset here in this spot?
Yeah, I think it's a good place to start, right? And I think the horse that's gotten the most buzz that I've heard about is the number 8 Goal Oriented. This is a horse that just has just bullet after bullet workout, and what that means is like let's say on a certain day at Santa Anita, he worked 5 furlongs, and there's like say 50 other horses that worked 5 furlongs at Santa Anita on that day at that distance. Like I said, he was the fastest time, right? So that's what a bullet work means. He's done that 3 straight times. I kind of talked to a few people that follow not just the times of the workouts, but are actually there in Southern California to watch the works. And they're saying, man, this horse has really grown up. It is growing up as we speak. Also, you look at this and you go, okay, if you don't want to trust me saying that, if you don't want to trust the clockers out at Southern California, out at Santa Anita, what about this? Flavian Pratt, who is just riding unbelievably well at Saratoga and could probably have had 6 or 7 really good mounts on Saturday at Saratoga. He has a bunch of mounts at Monmouth Park, but the main one here is goal oriented, and he comes over to ride for Bob Baffert. So Flavian Pratt obviously believes in the horse as well. So to me, if there's an upsetter in terms of a horse that is coming on at the right time, it does seem like it is goal oriented for Bob Baffert. And it makes sense. He only has 3 starts, right? His third ever start was in the Preakness, where he got bumped around pretty hard by journalism, whether it was his fault or journalism's fault. We're not getting into that today, but the fact of the matter is he was kind of thrown off stride, right? So I've heard a lot of really good things about goal-oriented coming into this race.
So with goal-oriented, I think it's relevant to talk about what trip you expect, right? With Bob Baffert horses, especially 3-year-olds in these higher level stakes races, the Triple Crown races, we expect Bafferts to go to the front. And that is how goal-oriented was successful going 2 turns in California. We saw him not be able to get there in the Preakness. I thought he actually still ran well to run on 4th in that Preakness. What do you expect from a trip here for goal-oriented? Because there is speed with Gosker. There is speed with Kentucky Outlaw. There is speed with Bracket Buster. Is he able to get to the front? And if not, does that drastically affect his chances?
So if you go back and watch the Preakness, they asked this horse for speed early, and it looked like goal-oriented was going to get to the front. And for whatever reason, Flavian Pratt kind of took off the gas and took him back. Now, what's interesting here is he rode that race kind of like that was the plan. The post-race quotes from Bob Baffert were, we wanted him on the lead. And so you kind of look and you go, man, that's really weird. So to answer your question, if Bob Baffert said he wanted to be on the lead at the Preakness, You gotta think he wants to be on the lead here. This is how he wins the majority of these big races. He sends these horses to the front. So I expect Gosker and Goal Oriented to go out towards the front. I think that's your speed. I think, listen, I think Goal Orient takes the lead and crosses over, and I think it's Gosker who's sitting in second, because just the way, just reading the tea leaves, I really believe Bob Baffert was not happy this horse was not on the lead in the Preakness, and I think this time they're going to the front. Even your analytics or your things may not say that. When you look at the speed figures and stuff like that and the early pace figures, I just think Bob Baffert says, send him and let's see what happens. Get him to the front. So I think Goal Oriented takes the lead. I think it's Gosker that's going to sit in second. Gosker sitting second off of a horse last time out in the Preakness. I think you'll see a similar situation here, just a different horse that he's sitting off of.
Yeah, you mentioned the early pace figures. Time Form, one of the more trusted pace figures in the horse racing world. Gosker is a 107. Goal Oriented is a 107. The 1 Bracket Buster, the 6 Gosker, the 7 Kentucky Outlaw, all 110 plus. I tend to agree with you. I think Goal Oriented is actually the fastest early horse, and the outside post kind of forces the hand a little bit more as well to try and get over and clear. Monmouth, very speed favoring when you come to from a racetrack perspective. You do want to be more forwardly placed, especially going 2 turns. So I would not be shocked if Goal Oriented tries to clear. The question is, will he be able to? I honestly think it's Bracket Buster that's a problem for him if it's anybody. At Kentucky Outlaw, we saw Goal Oriented clear in the past. That, to me, not as big of an issue. Gosker, I don't think a true front-running style horse. I think he wants to sit second, third, fourth, so I don't think he's the issue. I think it's the inside and outside. And how this pace develops, I think, is going to be a big part of who is able to win the race. We'll not pick it yet, but we know you do like Goal Oriented a little bit more than that 4-1 morning line. Let's go to the favorite now, number 2, Journalism. Coming off what was just a phenomenal Triple Crown run. If you look back at what Journalism has been able to accomplish so far this season, winning the San Felipe, winning the Santa Anita Derby, a very good second to Sovereignty in the Kentucky Derby, a very good second in the Belmont where he fired his race and Sovereignty was just simply better. Well, Sovereignty's not here. And Journalism, I think, has clearly established himself as the second best horse in this 3-year-old class. We're seeing 4-5. I assume we're going off around 3-5, somewhere in that range, which means he needs to win close to 65% of the time to be profitable. Do you think that 65-70% win rate is accurate in this race?
Yeah, it's a great way you laid it out. And, I think you're kind of baiting me into saying no, but I actually say yes to that. I really think that is accurate for him in this one. The problem I have with picking somebody else is, look, I understand that their 3-year-olds are going to improve. If Gosker or Goal Oriented was ever going to beat him, it seems like the Preakness was that time when he kind of had 10 or 15 seconds where he wasn't running because he was about to fall over, so it's like, boy, you should have beat him there. What if he doesn't, just kind of runs a normal race and no traffic trouble and is fine? You're probably going to beat him the majority of the time. The other thing about it is we talk about this pace, and I'm kind of with you. It's like, yeah, Bracket Buster can go, Goal Oriented can go, Gosker can go, the Kentucky Outlaw can go. Wild and Crazy Knight, who's a long shot in this, and I don't think will be much of a factor, can go to the front. You know what Journalism really likes to do? Sit behind horses that are running really fast and then pass them like they're standing still once he's ready to run. Yeah, I kind of think he is going to be that horse that if Sovereignty's not in the race, he's going to be tough to beat. And the other big thing for me is he ran in all 3 of the Triple Crown races. If this horse was showing a slight look in the morning of, well, maybe he's not quite 100%, if he's 98%, you're not shipping him across the country to run. You're skipping this round of races and waiting. So the fact that he shows up, to me, kind of tells me he's breathing fire. Like, we got to run him. He's doing so well right now.
Yeah, I was trying to bait you so I could then disagree with you, but I agree. I think Journalism's fair odds in this. If you're getting 4-5, I think that's a fair price on Journalism. I think 3-5 is probably where I wouldn't bet him to win, but I think 4-5 a fair price in this spot. I would be remiss if I don't mention the number 4 Burnham Square, a horse that I've been higher on than most since the Triple Crown Trail started. I thought he ran a phenomenal Kentucky Derby. I think the last race, specifically the Matt win at Churchill, is so much better than what it looks on paper. East Avenue had total control of that race throughout the entire thing. I had East Avenue singled that day. I was a mile and a 16th, which means you have a short stretch there at Churchill, not a positive for Burnham Square. I think the pace materializes here. I do think that we're going to see a little bit faster early pace. I think that sets it up really well for a horse like the number 4 Burnham Square. I think he is by far the most likely horse to upset journalism, more than goal-oriented, more than Gosker. I think Burnham Square is the new shooter, if you want to say, since he was not in the Preakness where journalism able to beat both those horses, that has a legitimate chance to win this race. I'm going to play a 2-4 exacta cold. I don't think Burnham Square able to get by journalism because I do think journalism a little closer to the pace. Burnham Square coming from a little further off. But if we do see Burnham Square float up to like that 8-1 range, I'll have a win bet on Burnham Square as well because I do think, in my mind, he is the second best horse in this spot. And we'll see if goal-oriented really can step forward. So you do like journalism on top. You're probably not playing a win wager at 3-5, 2-5. How are you trying to make some money off this race?
Well, I hate to say it, but I've joined the bandwagon of Burnham Square. I'm going 2-4 exacta in this race. We're exactly alike. It's a couple things. The Matt win, you're right. That was a very good race for him. And if you need refresh, if you didn't watch the replay, not talking to you, but the people listening, it was a 4-horse field, and they just went one by one by one by one. And they all kind of just ran in a line the whole way. East Avenue set a very slow pace, and you just couldn't pass him. Burnham Square was second. He made up ground, just he couldn't make up enough. And then Cole Battle third, and then Final Gambit fourth. And they just kind of ran that way all the way around. Listen, the other big thing, and you said it, it's the pace. Like, this horse, we know this horse can run down horses if he gets a fast pace. We've seen it. He's going to get it. I think he's going to show up and run a very big race. I think he nips goal-oriented at the wire there for second. So I've got it 2-4-8. I wouldn't be opposed to a straight trifecta, 2-4-8, or a trifecta, 2 on top over 4-8 in second, 4-8 in third, and play it for a decent amount. I think that's the way to go. I'm with you, though. Journalism on top for me, and Burnham Square, kind of that key horse underneath. I'm with you. And look, I thought he was getting a little better even leading up to that Kentucky Derby. His Bluegrass was decent enough, right, where he won the race. It wasn't super impressive, but it's like, okay, I think he's taking steps. The Derby was a total toss because of the traffic. And I'm with you that Matt Wynn was a pretty good race for him. So, yeah, I'm with you. 2-4 exacta, then 2 over 4-8 over 4-8 trifecta.
That's race number 12 over at Monmouth Park on Saturday. The $1 million Haskell Stakes, one of the crown jewels of the summer Triple Crown, if you will. Both of us going with journalism number 2 on top, 4-5 on the morning line. Both of us like Burnham Square in second, 5-1 there. So I'll be playing a 4-2 exacta. Aaron looking at the 2 with the 4-8 try there. I'll play 2-4 exacta. Excuse me. Aaron looking at the 2 with the 4-8 try. Let's rewind. He'll go back in time one race to the 11th at Monmouth Park, the United Nations Grade 2, going 1 mile and 3/8 over the turf course. Always an interesting race every year. I think one of the more difficult races to handicap every year because you always get a big field on a turf course that we don't see a ton of races at 1 mile and 3/8. We don't see a ton of horses at this level who end up running in these races consistently at Monmouth Park. Favorite installed on the morning line, the number 3 Redistricting, a horse that I chased for a while, and I missed the win last time, which is kind of frustrating. Second choice on the board here is going to be Limited Liability, a horse we both love to fade, sitting at 4-1. And the third choice, a lukewarm third choice, I should say, the number 7 Rebel Red for Cherie DeVoe, Luis Saez aboard. A lot of different places to go in this race, Aaron. So I'll let you kick it off first here. What do you expect from a pace perspective? This is a longer race where, again, speed does favor on this turf. And who do you like to end up coming out on top?
I love redistricting. I really do. We talked about him a lot. You really liked him in the Turf Classic at Churchill Downs, and he ran 6th that day. And so you might think, boy, that was disappointing. But he ran behind some horses that have really been good, whether it be before that race or after that race. He only was a length and a half behind. And if you go back and watch that race, he really didn't get the best of trips. Go watch the last race at Monmouth Park, man. That was kind of what I think he needs to do. Get out, whether it's at the front or at least close to the front, and just kind of dominate when you're taking on these lesser company horses. That's what he did. This is lesser company than what he faced at Churchill Downs and even what he faced at Fairgrounds 2 races back. You could even say it's lesser than what he faced at Del Mar 3 races back, all races he was close to winning. I like him in this spot quite a bit. You mentioned that speed really is good on this turf course. That's another reason I like him because, like I said, I don't think he'll be on the lead, but get up there second or third. You got Flavian Pratt aboard again. Oh, by the way, Flavian Pratt was aboard him last time. He came over to Monmouth to ride him. So this is a nice horse. I really like him in a race like this. This is perfect for him. I will say, though, you mentioned the speed. There was a horse that I wanted to play underneath last week, Corruption, who scratched out of the Bowling Green to run here. He's got a lot of speed, too. And when he's really effective, he gets to the front. I like him drawing the rail here because, to me, it's like, don't try to be in the middle. Don't try to get too cute. Send, break, and send. So I think Corruption is dangerous as well. Those are my top two. 3 with redistricting, and then Corruption, the one horse. 2 horses I think will be forwardly placed, and I think they'll kick on when needed.
Yeah, I like redistricting a lot. If you could find redistricting at plus 350 in any fixed odds market, go out and bet it. You're not getting 7-2 on race day. He's probably going off closer to that 8-5, 9-5 type range in a field that, as you mentioned, is weaker than what he has been facing prior to the last race at Monmouth. I don't think he has any chance of going gate to wire, but I do think you see a more forward trip here and possibly just the catbird seat trip where he is sitting right in beside Corruption and right beside Get Smoking, the 10 horse who is going to show some speed as well. And if that's the case, redistricting should be very, very difficult to beat in this spot. I do think it's not just open and shut underneath. And I mentioned the pace specifically because you have the one Corruption who I think is best on the lead, and the 10 Get Smoking, who is going to get the lead. I don't see any world where Get Smoking doesn't just go and take this field as far as he possibly can. Then the question is, where does Corruption sit? Does he go too wide for all these turns at Monmouth? That's never a good sign. You don't want to be too wide chasing a leader in second place on the turf course. It's known as the trip of death out there for some people that like to refer to it as that. Redistricting probably gets a significantly better trip on the inside. I'm hard pressed to put the one Corruption in second place just because I'm not sure what to expect from this trip. And I'm wondering, like the last race where he ended up close to Far Bridge, who we mentioned, came back and won next time out in the Grade 1 Manhattan there at Saratoga. You kind of wonder, okay, are we going to get the trip like the Gulfstream Park trip 4-back where we're able to sit in second and then be able to make a move? That to me is kind of the way that you see Corruption be able to do this. I'm not sure he's good enough, especially when you have horses like a Rebel Red for Cherie DeVoe, the number 7 horse who's 9-2 on the morning line, who I think gets the pace to chase in this spot and really has not done anything wrong since coming out here in the 5-year-old season. This is a son of Frankel out of a Lemon Drop Kid mare. Absolutely is going to love this distance. And that to me is the question with redistricting. We haven't seen redistricting go more than 1.125 miles to this point, or I'm sorry, more than 1.25 miles to this point, and that was by far the worst race that we saw him run. And you do have horses like Rebel Red who consistently run better at longer distances. Any concern around the distance with redistricting? And what's your thoughts here on Rebel Red, the 7 horse who should be coming fast off the pace?
Yeah, I do have Rebel Red in third. I am with you there. Kind of just a really consistent runner, and Cherie DeVoe, a trainer that we always love to bet because her horses usually run well and they're not over bet. As far as the distance, the way this horse is bred, talking about redistricting, probably should love it, right? And I don't know, you never know for sure until they do it. But the way this horse is bred, the way this horse runs, I think he's going to like it quite a bit. I'm not overly concerned about it, even though there isn't a lot of proof that I could back that up with, right? But just projecting, I think he'll be fine. Talking about the distance, I think if the 9 Major dude can stretch out successfully, he's a way too big of a price. He's 15-1 in here. You're looking at underneath horses. I think he makes a lot of sense. He's been running races that are frustrating because it's like, dang, he should have won, or oh, he was right there. But when he's been doing that, he's hitting the board in most of them. So he was another one. I don't know what you think about him here in this spot, but I thought, man, 15-1 that's too big on this horse. If you can get that, I think he's one to consider as well.
Yeah, he's been coming out of some tough races, too. 3 straight races at a mile, all run in 134 or faster. Very good time for a mile. You're looking for 136. So when you see 134 miles, that's always impressive. The mile and an eighth races are all very good. Won the Fort Lauderdale heading into the Pegasus World Cup Turf Invitational. Ran third behind Spirit of St. Louis. Ran sixth, 3 lengths behind Spirit of St. Louis in the Pegasus World Cup Turf Invitational. You go back to a mile and eighth race at Saratoga in an optional claim route down there. Ties his career high buyer with a 97. All three of his 97s have come going a mile and an eighth. So I'm not sure about the distance with him, but it's one of those horses I think is at least interesting. Price wise, give me the number 6 Vote No at 10-1. That's the horse that I feel like is the up and comer here, stepping up in class, but the price is right to take a shot here. Vote No, going for the Kelsey Danner barn. Barn that is not successful at graded stakes all the time. That to me is the biggest knock. And this is only going to be the second time this horse jumps into a graded stakes. But the pace sets up well for this horse to be rolling late. I thought I was very impressed with the win at Delaware Park last time out. Again, step up in class, but that's why we're getting 10-1. This is the opportunity where if you can see the horse Vote No take a step forward, you're not going to get this price again. That's the long shot I like underneath. For me, it's the 3 redistricting. I think he is awfully tough. And like I said, plus 350 in a fixed odds market, a great bet there. I think we're going off closer to 7-5, 8-5. I am going to put Rebel Red, the 7, in second and Vote No in third. Who's your top 3 real quick for the people?
Yeah, I'm going to go the 3. I'm going to go 3-1-7 in this. 3-1-7. I'm with you on Rebel Red. That's a hard one not to throw in there because it's just a very, very consistent horse.
Now, if you're looking to get involved in any of these, great opportunity right now. The G-Bank, VSiN, and First Bet trifecta. It's a $500 trifecta. All you need to do is open a G-Bank Visa signature card in the first 90 days, deposit and play through $1,000 over at First Bet to hit the trifecta. You'll receive a $200 cashback reward on your G-Bank Visa signature credit card, $100 from First Bet in a deposit match bonus, and VSiN will complete the trifecta with a free VSiN Pro subscription through August 31st, 2026. That's a $200 value and a $500 trifecta from G-Bank, First Bet, and VSiN. Head over to VSiN.com/GBank. That's VSIN.com/GBank. This is a one-time promotion and limited to customers opening a new account in response to this offer and will not apply to requests to convert current existing accounts. Apply today. Make sure to check out the terms and conditions. All right, Aaron, let's head over to Saratoga and the Grade 1 Coaching Club American Oaks, the 10th race from Saturday. 3-year-old fillies who are going to try a mile and an eighth over the dirt. Last time we saw this group do this, we saw Lucara go gate to wire over a sloppy track there at Saratoga, a very speed favoring track. You've got Immersive, who's been installed as your morning line favorite on the inside at 8-5. Lucara on the outside, 2-1, your second choice. Are we going to just see a repeat of what we saw earlier from Lucara, or do you think it's going to be a little bit tougher on Saturday for her to try and go gate to wire?
Yeah, the last race for Lucara is almost a throwout because if you were watching that day, it rained. They sealed the track, and when you have a sloppy track that's sealed at Saratoga, nobody passes anybody. So while I like Lucara, and I have other races where you could point to and go, hey, she was pretty good, like the Ashland 3 races back. That was a pretty good performance. But can she do what she did in the Acorn? I don't think so. I do think she'll get to the front. I do think she's got a shot to win, but running away from the field like that, I don't think is going to happen. It will be a little bit tougher. I'm a sucker for Immersive. I'm going to go Immersive in this spot. I hate the price. I wish she was a little bit better price. I will say that. But this is a dominant horse as a 2-year-old. 4-4 as a 2-year-old, a horse that did finish ahead of Lucara in the Breeders' Cup Juvenile Fillies, and it really wasn't close. And then after that race, November 1st of last year, after she completed her 4-win streak, 225 days off, got injured. It took a while to come back, came back at Churchill Downs at an ungraded stakes race, got beat by Take Charge Milady, a horse that's in here, but only got beat at neck, and it just really felt like that was just a get her a race. It's been a while. Here's my deal. They love this horse. There's no way Brad Cox enters Immersive in the coaching club here if he didn't feel really confident that she's going to take a big step forward off of that race where she suffered her first career defeat. And if she does take a big step forward, even if Lucara runs a very good race, I think Immersive is the better horse. So I do not like the price, but I do think this is the horse to beat in this spot.
Yeah, I mean, look, you're getting 8-5 because Lakara is 2-1, and it's never Lakara. I mean, for me at least. I'll tell you that right now. We talk about the wedding funeral scenario where a horse wins. If you don't go to the wedding, why attend the funeral? This is the funeral for Lakara, unless either the 5 dry powder scratches or there is an immense amount of rain. Those are the 2 ways that Lakara, I think, has an opportunity to be able to win this race. The sloppy track, being able to go gate to wire last time, absolutely elevated her. You're right. It's almost a cross-off just because of how that race was run. Dry powder to the inside went 22:44 last time out, and dry powder has 1 chance at winning this race. That's outbreaking Lakara, beating her to the turn and going gate to wire. I think Liscano absolutely sends with dry powder, which makes Lakara's day significantly more difficult. If she doesn't make the lead, her chances of winning this race are sub 5%, and she's sitting there at 2-1 with speed to her inside. No interest, no thanks, never Lakara. The problem with immersive is the price, Aaron. 8-5 is too short on immersive in this spot. Give me Take Charge Milady, who has a muddied up form when you look through it because you've got 2 absolutely atrocious races. One of them came in the Kentucky Oaks, where this horse ran 12th. The other came in the Honeybee, where this horse ran 10th. Those were 13 horse fields. If you take out those big fields where you had real trouble in both those races, this horse is as good as anybody in this race. Beat Immersive last time out in a shorter field. That was a 4-horse field. You rewind to the Ashland, just a 8-horse field that day. I thought this horse ran a very good second behind Lakara when Lakara, again, got the opportunity to get loose, was comfortable up front, was able to have everything her own way. That doesn't happen today. You go back before that in the Martha Washington at Oaklawn. I thought she was awesome, beating Quiet Side, who was a horse that was hyped up through this 3-year-old class as well. And I'm getting 9-2. I am getting 2.5 times the price on the 4-horse Take Charge Milady over Immersive. So give me the number 4, Take Charge Milady on top. Sweet Sapphirine and Scottish Lassie also both in this race we haven't talked about. Any interest in anybody outside of, I'm guessing you like the 4 as well, outside of the 1, 4, and possibly the 6?
Listen, it was 1, 4, 6 for me. You just said it. And look, I'll piggyback on Take Charge Milady because I think you did a good job there of kind of explaining it. And look, I think you do look at the form and go, boy, this is just, she's inconsistent. And I'm with you. I don't think so. I just think when she gets up against bigger fields, she didn't break well in either one of those. And then all of a sudden, a horse that likes to be 3 or 4 lengths off the pace is way behind. And I think she just kind of quit. Even if she doesn't break well in a 6-horse field, it doesn't matter. She's not going to fall and way behind and get dirt all over her face and hate life, right? So I do think that is the big key. I was with you. The Ashland, I thought, hey, she's probably the better horse than Lakara that day, just didn't get the trip. And then last time out, you're right. I mean, she did beat Immersive. I just look at this, and again, I'm not arguing with you. I think this is the horse to play if you're not going to take the short price on Immersive. I just kind of feel like there were a lot of reasons why Immersive lost that race. And one of them was, I will concede, Take Charge Milady was good. She ran a very good race. But a lot of the other reasons were, hey, she was not 100% ready to run. It was her first race in 225 days. I just feel like she's got a lot out of that race. I think it was good for her to race against a horse that had a lot of talent to get more fitness out of it. And unfortunately for Take Charge Milady, I think she warmed up Immersive really well, and I see her turning the tables because of what I'm talking about. But look, you're right. You're going to get 8-5 versus, I think, 9-2. I think she'll be every bit of 9-2. You'll take your chances, I understand it. The other ones, I just don't think they're all that good, to be blunt. I just believe if it's anybody but 1, 4, 6, I'll be very surprised.
Yeah, I'll be surprised too. I don't hate the idea of trying to take the number 2 Sweet Seraphine in third in the trifecta here. 4, 1, 2 cold for me, just because I think Lakara, if it doesn't get the lead, could finish 5th. I don't trust Lakara to hang out and hang around if she is not up front early. And even if she is up front and pressed, I think it's much more difficult for her to run third in this spot. And if you run her out of the trifecta, you're going to get a lot more value in that spot. So maybe you want to play a 1-4 with 1-4 with 2, where you're just pegging that 2-horse into the third spot, who I think is I'm clearly the best of the 2, 3, 5 in my mind, or has the most upside of those 2, 3, 5 horses. Number 4, Take Charge Milady for me in the Coaching Club, American Oaks. Number 1, Immersive for Aaron, second off the layoff, as he mentioned. hoping to see a nice step forward. All right, one more race before we close it out here. We're going to head to Del Mar Saturday, the San Clemente Grade 2 1 mile going over the turf course. No morning lines out for this, which always makes it a little bit more interesting of a handicap. What did you make of the 9th race at Del Mar, the San Clemente on Saturday?
It's going to be a really good race, right? It is going to be a lot of fun to kind of watch Del Mar open up, whether it be Friday or Saturday. So, and we've got, to me, we've got a situation where Phil D'Amato, he looks really tough in here. I really like the number 5 Thought Process. This is a horse out in Southern California, has always been very good. Won 3 races last year when moving to the turf. Then tried the Breeders' Cup Juvenile Philly Turf, got 9th, beaten 6. But we've seen some monsters come out of that field, right? Lake Victoria was great, who came in from overseas. Nitrogen was in that race. I mean, we saw some great horses come out of it. And then she came off of a long layoff last time out to run at Santa Anita on June 14th in an allowance race. Just dusted them by 5 3/4. She was 1-5. That's what she should have done, but, still very good. I do think Phil D'Amato's other horse in here, the number 7 Jungle Peace, is very interesting as well. Another horse that is very fast early, can get to the front. Last time out, stretched out in distance for the first time, got 3rd, only beaten ahead in that spot in the honeymoon at Santa Anita. I think Jungle Peace makes a little bit of sense here as well. She had been running at the 5.5, 6.5 furlong distance, then went to a 1.125 miles. Now we're to a mile. So I thought she was interesting as well. I think the 5 and the 7, those are the 2 horses that'll be very, very tough to beat in this spot.
I am fascinated to see Thought Process here, because Thought Process is going to be your favorite. It's going to be the deserving favorite. Clearly the best resume on paper. We always talk about how pace makes the race, though. Holy jumpin', Aaron, to quote our favorite Blues announcer who's no longer with us. There's going to be a ton of pressure here early for Thought Process. You mentioned the 7 Jungle Peace. 2 D'Amatos, do they both decide to go? I think you have to mention Silent Law on the outside for Bob Baffert, the 9, who is just a speedball. Like, I see no world where the 9 doesn't absolutely try and send and get to the front here. On top of that, the number 6 horse, very fast for Mandela and JJ Hernandez. Hernandez has taken this horse to the lead twice when going a mile. I really think this sets up for somebody to try and come from off the pace. Why not the number 1 horse, Will Then, here at a little bit of a price? Has beaten a couple of horses inside this field, has shown the ability to sit way off the pace in the Jimmy Durante over this turf course, so has a win at Del Mar going this distance, and was able to sit closer to the pace in the China Doll the next race out and be able to win there as well. That's a Jonathan Thomas trainee. You get Mike Smith aboard. I think the trip is absolutely perfect for Will Then from the rail here. It's going to be hard for me to bet Thought Process at the price that you're eventually going to get on this horse with all of the other speed in here. I think you got to look at the 3 Me So Fancy as well if you're looking for a collapse type horse. Me So Fancy wants to come running from off the pace. I thought ran a very good second in the honeymoon last time. That was a 1.125 miles. This horse hadn't gone over a mile, and prior to that race had been in every single race and even was a nose out of that one. This horse has either won or finished in a photo finish in the top 2 every single start. I think Me So Fancy gets a very good trip coming from off the pace as well. So I'm going to go against Thought Process here. I'm going to hope that the speed ends up coming back and Will Then able to run him down. But I do think the 3 Me So Fancy interesting if you're playing multi-race bets as well. What do you make of the pace? Who gets the lead? And how fast are they going early? Is this something where Thought Process is going to be able to stalk in this field and be able to still win?
Yeah, it's very interesting that the 2 horses that I think are very prominent early are going to be Thought Process and Jungle Peace that have like they're fast and they have class, right? They're both trained by the same guy. So it just, to me, it's like, did we put Jungle Peace in there because we're going to try to do what we did back in the 2-year-old season at Del Mar with Thought Process and kind of sit her off the pace a little bit and see if she can come from off the pace? It is a fascinating situation. Maybe one of them scratches. I thought about that as well. But I do think it's going to be pretty fast up front. I do like that you can look back in those 2-year-old races when Thought Process broke the maiden and then won a stakes right there at Del Mar as a 2-year-old. She didn't have to have the lead. So that was interesting. Now, it looks like to me, though, she is a better horse when she does get that lead. She runs faster figures. She looks more dominant. So I don't really know what they're doing, but I do think they're going to go fast. I will give you the number 8 for Forense Flavor. If you think it's going to melt down, I think that horse is interesting as well. Won the Honeymoon last time out at 7-1 win. She got a pretty fast pace, and then won an allowance 2 races back at Santa Anita with a decent pace as well. So that one makes a little bit of sense to me. The odds aren't out yet, and that does make it tricky to kind of see where we might want to go with a long shot, but I thought the 8 made sense. I looked at your horse, the number 1, Will Then, for a long time. You want to know my biggest problem? Mike Smith. I don't know that I can trust him in 2025, dude. That's my thing. Like, look at the jockey of the last 2 races, Umberto Rispoli. And obviously he's not here because he's writing journalism at Monmouth, but if you had Umberto Rispoli back, I would feel a lot better about it. I'm not sure about Mike Smith in this spot.
I don't disagree with you. I would wish it was Rispoli and not Smith, but Smith obviously going to be in New Jersey, so no chance to see him here at Del Mar. I want to try and beat Thought Process. And I honestly, I'm going to have Thought Process in the top 4. I do think Thought Process has the ability to at least sit off the pace. I would be shocked, though, if Thought Process got the lead. I think that the 9 Silent Law is going to be your front runner there in the Honeybee in the San Clemente over at Del Mar, race number 9 on Saturday. Number 1 Will Then for me. Number 5, Thought Process for Aaron. We'll see what happens when those morning lines come out. I do think it's a fun betting race, though, because I think you can look at the 3. You can look at the 3-horse Me So Fancy. You can look at the 8-horse Forense Flavor and possibly try and get a price underneath some of those favorites as well. If you want to bet the San Clemente, the Coaching Club American Oaks, or the entire Monmouth card on Saturday, why not head over to First Action right now? Get ready to get in on the action. First Bet has you covered. Sign up now to access exclusive promotions and bet on hundreds of thrilling horse races every single day right from your phone or your computer. Visit firstbet.com. That's the number 1, STBET.com, and use promo code VSiN200 to score a 20% rebate on all your wagers, win or lose, for the first 60 days, up to $200. Don't miss out. Start betting on First Bet today. And if you're looking for more races to bet, Aaron, we've got our best bets coming up now to close out the show. I will let you kick this off because your second best bet plays nicely into my first one. So what are your favorite bets this weekend across the country?
Yeah, I'll start off with the bet at Monmouth that you aren't involved in, and then I'll end with that Saratoga one. So you could chime in with that. It'd be a smooth transition as we try to keep it professional here on VSiN At The Track. All right, let's go. Let's go to Monmouth. Like I said first, and look, I did not reinvent the wheel with this one here at Monmouth. There is a horse running that I just think is a big time standout for Brad Cox in Just a Touch. So we'll kick it off here at Monmouth with Just the Touch in the, the race number 6 at Monmouth, the number 4, Just a Touch. That's who I'll start off my daily double with. So I'll go Just a Touch to start off in race 6. Just a big time standout. Should be an easy win for that one. And then we'll go to race 7, and I'll use the number 1, Main Beach. Main Beach coming in here for Chad Brown, coming off of a 7th place effort in a grade 3 race at Aqueduct. Much tougher race there for this one. Getting back to an allowance company here, and I think makes a lot of sense. This is the easiest race this horse has ran in quite a while. Coming off of a layoff, that doesn't really worry me. Chad Brown horses usually run well off layoffs, and Flavian Pratt gets aboard. And we've talked about how Flavian Pratt has a lot of mounts on this day. This is one where I think he's going to be very tough, and I think this is going to be a really good spot. So Monmouth Park here, race 6 on Saturday, the daily double, 4 in race 6, and then the 1 in race number 7. All right, let's get to Saratoga now, and I'm going to go Saratoga race 5. This is a horse that's on Saturday. This is a horse that I wanted to play last week, and it got rained off the turf, and so the horse got scratched. But the number 1, Rhetorical, and you actually, this is an entry, so it's 1 and 1A, Clear Conscience and Rhetorical here for the entry. This horse, just a clear standout, won a very similar race to this last time out. I just think this horse is going to be awfully tough to beat. Like I said, 1 by 5 last time out in a runaway. The other entry is not bad either, Clear Conscious. And then I'm going to go to race 6, and I'm going to use the 6, Alamara. I'm not going to explain why, because I know somebody that has that horse as a best bet. So Saratoga, race 5, I've got the 1 in race 5, and then the 6 in race 6 for the daily double. But I'll let you take it away on that 6 in race 6.
If you want to try and juice up Aaron's daily double, go 1-2 with 6. I think the 2-horse O'Reilly has a shot at beating the entry there in the 5th race at Saratoga. 6-1 price. You're going to get every bit of it as well because that entry is going to get bet so heavily in that spot. But yes, I do have the 6th horse, and race number 6 is one of my best bets. The 1 3/16 over the turf. Number 2 horse, Curlin's Angels, your favorite at 5-2. I love playing against these style of horses. First time against winners. It's just a lot more difficult to be able to replicate a performance. On top of that, Curlin's Angel was 15-1 that day. Now you're getting 5-2 against winners after getting 15-1 against maidens. No thanks. Let's bet against it. And let's use the number 6 horse, Alamara, as you mentioned, for Chad Brown. Manny Franco gets the ride. Look, Manny Franco, and we didn't talk about this, but Saturday at Saratoga, the jockey perspective is very interesting because you've got Irad Ortiz gone. You've got Flavian Pratt gone. You've got a lot of the top jockeys at Saratoga at Monmouth, which means you have to upgrade guys like Manny Franco, who all of a sudden are going to get very good mounts. This is one of those. And this is a horse that absolutely flourished last time out at Belmont at the Big A, went 1 3/8 that day, ended up running second, and got one of the worst Joel Rosario rides I have seen in a long time, and that is saying something. Now we get Joel off, we get Manny Franco on. We're getting 3-1 on a horse second off the layoff as a 3-year-old who absolutely is flourishing going these longer distances. I think Alamara able to break through today at 3-1, or break through on Saturday at 3-1 in Saratoga's 6th race. Fast forward to the card. I wanted to give out a price because I had 2 of them that I really considered, and I'm going to go with the number 3, Twirling Queen, in the 9th race at Saratoga, 12-1 on the morning line. This is another horse where the paper is just muddy, and that's why we're getting 12-1. Last time out was a debut off a 6-month layoff, and the horse broke well, but had to steady early, was able to run up into it, was behind a wall of horses around the far turn. Kind of everything went wrong for a debut race for a season from a seasonal perspective. Now you get second off the layoff, and I believe the talent is still there for Twirling Queen, and we're getting 12-1 because some people don't. If you go back to the 2 races ago where she was an even money favorite at Gulfstream Park going 5 furlongs, yeah, she did not win that race as even money. She also broke from the 11 post, and they went 20-1 and 42-3 that day, and she was on the pace on the outside. You are never being successful turf sprinting going that fast, that wide, when you are breaking wide. So I think there's a real excuse for Twirling Queen in the last 2 races. You rewind past that. Look, she's 1 for 2 at Saratoga. She's 2 for 3 at the distance. She's beaten a bunch of horses that are inside this level. She's had success across the board, kind of coming up and through stakes races as well. I think Twirling Queen at 12-1 is a overlay of what she should be. I think she should be closer to the 5-1 range against this field. I don't trust that you're just going to see a repeat of Pipsy, who won last time out. I think she's definitely a player, but I think that Twirling Queen is the price at 12-1. Did you like Twirling Queen at all there on Saturday, race number 9 at Saratoga?
No, I don't. I like the price. I don't like how much she's going to have to improve against what I think is a very good field. I think if you got a little bit easier of a spot for her, I think she makes sense. What I'm trying to say is I don't hate like the case she made, like, hey, she's more talented than what she showed and things like that. But and those horses are pretty good in that race. That's a pretty good stakes race. So I didn't use that one. But again, the horse is 12-1, so you're getting paid for that thought process of, hey, this horse has just kind of had some races that just didn't go her way. I do agree with a better trip. She's going to run better. I just don't know that she's good enough to beat a few of those top ones in there.
Yeah, going to be a fun race. The Caress there, that's a grade 3, the 9th race at Saratoga. You've got just a very, very good field for a grade 3 with horses like Pipsy, like the future is now, Zolito's trying the turf again. But the price to me on Twirling Queen, the differentiator there, we're up against it on time. I want to at least mention the Vanderbilt race number 11 at Saratoga. It's a grade 2. I called you yesterday about the 3-horse Damon's Mount, who is 15-1, the longest shot on the board. I am intrigued by this horse, who was very good at 2, very good at Saratoga, and then switches over to the Bill Mott barn. Bill Mott has Saratoga sniper Baby Yoda, who you never know when that horse is going to show up, but usually at Saratoga it does in the race, yet still decides to enter Damon's Mountain here at 15-1. I like Bookham Dano. I know that you like the horse right to the inside of Bookham Dano as well in Mulligan, but 15-1 on Damon's Mountain is a little bit high, isn't it?
It's pretty high, and I can count on maybe one hand the amount of times you've called me and be like, hey, am I crazy for liking this horse? Because you always like crazy horses. But this one, listen, and when I tell you, I said, no, not really, because this horse is flash talent. He's a bit inconsistent when it comes to winning, but he always shows up and runs well. Bill Mott's got this horse, and I think the horse is 15-1 because of that last race where he just didn't run very well. But you know what? That was off of a layoff. I think he's super interesting as well. Can he beat Bookham Dano? I'm not sure, but can he make a splash? Can he outrun the odds? Yes, I absolutely think he can.
The funny thing, didn't run that well. Set a career high buyer for himself that day, and now second off the layoff in a Mott barn. I think that the 3 Damon's Mound really interesting at 15-1. Must use horse inside those exotic bets. That's going to be it here for VSiN at the Track this week. Make sure you tune in again next week. Monster Racing a card next week as well with the Jim Dandy. The return of Sovereignty going to be featured there. Wherever you're playing, make sure you're playing over at First Bet. But whatever track you are playing, enjoy it this weekend, and good luck out there cashing some tickets.